the back of my pocket. Did you guys ever notice it?
I never saw that.
Yeah, I noticed it, but like no one else could notice that. All right, so here is the deal. This is commentary 3 for our Yeti video that we filmed right here. Carter normally produces. He did produce this one. He's not here right now because he's on the phone call, but he didn't do a whole lot compared to what he normally does, so we didn't have him part of this group conversation.
I don't think he did anything.
He just got the credit.
Just kidding. He did.
He killed it, actually. He was out on vacation with his family, so the real people had to go to work. So with that being said, before we start the video, let's just recap the experience, starting with Tyson.
Recap the experience. Wow, the pressure's on. It was such a fun shoot. A little different because it was like a vlog that we were shooting with the Red. Usually when people are vlogging, they've got their 7D or their 5D or whatever. I'm actually the person that was holding the camera, pretending to be Devin. And so that was fun to try to figure out, you know, when Devin comes in, when his hand actually comes in, which isn't really part of the camera. It's just Devin actually standing next to me. So it was an experience and that sort of thing. Nothing but good friends just hanging out and making a video.
Ain't that the truth? Which brings us to Zane.
Yeah, so it was super fun. I mean, it was something that we've never done before on this channel. We did it. You've kind of did it before, years past, with the breaking in. But this was like on a higher scale of found footage type video. We wanted to pay homage to that, and we thought it lent itself to be more real. Some of our inspiration was, I don't know if you guys remember, you can check it out, is the old Ratchet and Clank commercials for their weapons. But anyways, they would show, it looked like, a kid holding the camera, very found footage, and then all of a sudden you see this amazing special effect. We wanted that to kind of come across as like it appearing super raw, and so when the first snowball hit and Rob shoots back, 10 feet, it could kind of catch you off guard and just make you smile, which our whole goal was, just to make a super positive, super funny, fun snowball fight for Nickelodeon.
Yeah, so Nickelodeon and Warner Brothers were involved. Warner Brothers was involved on this project. This project happened super fast. Originally, when we found out that was even going to happen, we had like a week's notice, give or take.
It was like
and we actually didn't think we could pull it off at all because like all the logistics, a location, crew, cast. Carter was going to be gone. We're going to be losing our producer, like on-set producer. How are we going to pull this off? So everything came together really fast, but we all kind of super came to the table. We were all working together. So this was, I think, one of the most collaborative projects that we've done, where I think everyone was just equally super involved on that. So with that being said, let's start with the video opening shot, which we actually did not film in Colorado, right?
Yeah. But real quick, we wanted to mention the establishing shot. Just like in the last video, we had to take this shot because we didn't have an opportunity to get those shots there. It's from where we were at, so we used this shot. Really sets up where you're at. Like when you see this shot, you go, okay, it's a mountain, and then we cut straight to this found footage. It makes you subconsciously think we are in those mountains. So it's just setting up the video, establishing where we are at.
And this one was done in Canada, actually, Alberta, Canada.
On a shot over. It actually looks like
it wasn't a shot over.
What was it?
Hanging out of the helicopter.
That's a steady shot.
Tyson was tricked, filming from a glide cam inside of a helicopter.
Steady hand.
And then
that's right, because I actually edited that video.
Yeah, back in the day.
Back in the day.
So opening shot, which we actually filmed at the end of the first day. You'll see the bars right here going down. We wanted you to instantly know that it was a handheld video camera, so that was why we did that. But we didn't want it to get annoying or distracting, so you only see it in the opening segment when you see the handycam shot.
There was a lot of pressure that that was involved with this shot because we were seriously 10 feet off of a road. And the sun had just dropped. We were running out of light. We wanted to get the shot so we didn't have to stay an extra day, which would have been to carry the trip to Saturday. So we ended up having this pressure, and it's a long one shot. So these guys all have to nail it. I'm also having to nail the focus, the zooms, the camera movements, and everyone's got to hit it. And we did it like 7 times?
Yeah.
I think the last one was perfect or something. Yeah. I can't remember which one. But cars kept driving by and ruining our audio, and we had to restart halfway through, and it was just...
It was a
fun
sad
experience.
Absolutely. And you'll notice, too, these amazing footprints that Brandon on our team made out of some special, I don't know, structure,
Styrofoam.
Home Depot, styrofoam-ish. But they broke. We had 3 of them total, and 2.5 of them broke, and he just made it work. And he was out there making the footprints, and we were trying to block everything. The sun was going down, so everything was just super rushed, just trying to make everything happen.
And we filmed more footprints going off into the distance. You don't really see them because the sun was going down, the snow started getting harder and frozen, and so the impressions of the footprint couldn't go as deep, and so we were dealing with that as well. But Brandon, I think, did a really good job.
He's just like out there walking around with his big feet on his feet, like taking big steps while we're all rehearsing and talking about it. And he made him super far away. But we also had to be careful not to make footprints ourselves and him, so we couldn't mess up the snow. So just another thing we had to worry about.
There's always something. And then the last thing worth mentioning on this is this green slime you see. This is our first time actually working with the Nickelodeon slime. Because we were doing it with Nickelodeon, we had to show the slime one way or another. And we were going to actually have Creighton eat the slime. On the actual container, it says, do not eat.
So we didn't read that part until after. And Creighton almost threw up after this.
But what is 100% worth mentioning is Zane wanted to make sure that Crane wasn't going to do something that we weren't willing to do.
So I ate some first.
So he ate some first.
Did you swallow it?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
We both did. Me and
No
Creighton
wonder
did.
you've been out of the office for a week.
He's always out of the office. So yeah, that was that experience, and we are glad that Zane took one for the team and that Crane took one for the team. But I think they said it was absolutely delicious.
It just said if you got in your mouth, you just had to drink plenty of fluids afterwards, which we did.
Safety first.
I love the acting on this. I think they did such a good job. These guys aren't even like true actors, but they are
Wex
actors.
Wex is legit.
I thought she was just a stunt person.
No.
So she's a good actor, but that's why she killed it.
Yeah.
Creighton's more of a stunt guy, buddy, and so is Rob. But they killed it. I think they did such a good job.
Absolutely. And everyone was what's called typecast in the biz. There's two different kind of acting ways, and typecasting is essentially where you get somebody that's similar to the role that they are. So they were still acting, but we are also picking them based on their personalities as well. So we wanted their personalities to come across. I mean, Creighton's so rambunctious and so happy, so we made sure that we included someone like that.
Ooh, can we talk about settings?
Yes.
So on the Red, there's an HDRX setting. We've actually messed with it quite a bit. The first time me and Zane used it was in Germany probably 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years.
And it was just an experiment, and we've actually learned something in this video as well. But we use the HDRX. It records 2 layers of the footage, overexposed and underexposed, so that because we're dealing with these super white, bright walls and super dark shadows. The only problem with it is you can't have a lot of motion, and this is all handheld. People are moving because you'll see that ghosting effect because you've got a different aperture, or is it the shutter? The shutter speed stays the same, but the aperture changes. So you're getting a ghosting effect, but we were able to hide it and do kind of find a happy medium between the two. So if you want to do HDRX, if you have a Red, just make sure it's either locked off or it's a super steady shot moving forward, and you won't get that. But I think we made it work pretty well. You can see a little bit of the ghosting if you look closely, but not enough that it distracts you.
Movie magic, right? HDR, high dynamic range. You can look that up. A lot of photographers do that. The Red's one of the few cameras that I know of that actually does that. And it does definitely suck up a lot more memory, but what it can do, because normally the background would be super overexposed, but because Tyson had the HDR thing going down, it made it so it wasn't as bad as it would have normally looked. Yeah. So this is the first stunt. I think this was the first time we actually pulled off, right?
Yeah, that's right at the beginning.
And Rob was actually hooked in by wires being flung, and his friends were just tugging as hard as they could on the rope.
Pulling.
And then that snowball was digitally made bigger by
Clint.
Good friend Clint.
Who's incredible. He works a lot with Freddie Wong and a bunch of those guys, Corridor Digital, but he did the snowballs, the bigger, like larger-than-life snowballs.
Yeah, because we can't make him that big and throw him that hard, so he really amped those things up.
But yeah, everything was heightened reality.
Unless you've seen the behind the scenes, you really don't know who that Yeti is, but it's Brandon.
Yeah,
Brandon was our Yeti, which
our very own
did
intern.
Such a good job.
No, Brandon killed it on this. He was doing a ton of different things, but this was like one of his first big acting debuts, if you will, and we were all super stoked. That was I do my own stunts now, so that was my first time doing wire work, which is really cool because it made me appreciate that much more what the stunt people have to go through. Because every time we say one more take, I finally realize like that can sometimes suck. Yeah. But they were throwing me, and we actually cut this shot early, but they hit me right in the crotch. And I guess that was a digitally altered snowball, but they hit me right in the crotch, and I was screaming in pain for about 20 seconds. Took it like a man, but whether I can one day have children or not is a different story. And we were filming this at the Dillon Ice Castles. My uncle's brother owns them all, and kind of runs them all. So we filmed several videos at the Ice Castles. We've done last year we did a fire breathing video. We've done Highline video out there. Lindsey Sterling's music video, Crystallize, that almost has 200 million views. We did that out there as well.
I wasn't trying to interrupt you. I just wanted to.
No,
go
I
back
actually want to say something. Let's go back. So some kind of fun behind the scenes stuff to know. So something that was, it would be funny because we would be setting up a shot, and then we would all of a sudden have to talk about, well, wait a minute, the camera is always somebody, or it's a selfie style. So anytime it's selfie style, Tyson's still holding the camera.
And it's funny because I had to grab their hands because it was so easy for them to let go, just because they know they're not holding it in their mind. So it was so easy to just naturally let go and then go grab, and it just would have looked funny. So I had to like hold their fingers plus not mess with the focus, and I had to pull them around, and it was just funny how
but this scene's funny. So Creighton messes up here. It's a little mess up. Is that the scene is supposed to be that Devin's filming, and Creighton takes the camera from Devin. But you'll notice that Creighton says, take it. But he's the one taking the cameras because he's actually talking to Tyson.
Devin, here, let me see it. Take it. Okay. Dude, Mike, come on.
And he's kind of giving it to me.
Yeah, to take it.
It's like subconsciously he started saying things that
because we had
made
them ad-lib
sense.
to make it a little bit more raw, and so in his mind he was actually telling Tyson to take the camera.
Take it.
And so it doesn't make a lot of sense.
But no one
But it's
noticed.
kind of funny.
I actually didn't ever notice.
Oh
until
yeah,
you said that.
yeah. So it's one of those
Well,
things
I didn't either, so
I
he brought
didn't
it up
notice,
to
but it totally was fine. Just because it's all high energy. So
I
you don't really
think
pay attention.
Creighton probably struggled the most with this. There's one scene coming up which we'll talk about because it took a little bit longer, but it is just hard. You have to train your mind.
And then on this shot, this is what I wanted to say real quick. So anytime the camera falls, which is actually quite often, we don't want it to actually fall. So these guys are pretend holding it, and then it would fall. So I'd have to basically map out a little spot in the snow with my hands, make it flat. So as soon as I fell, bam, I hit right into that spot, and I can't move because if there's any movement after, it looks like someone was holding it. Mm-hmm. We did that quite often, and it was almost our way of kind of cutting to the next, the next shot.
Exactly, because it helped. It was funny because we would also, like Devin was saying earlier, to get into the mindset that the camera is a person and not just the camera. That was pretty difficult because also we'd be setting up for a shot, and it's like there wouldn't be any movement afterwards or before to like the camera was coming in or leaving, and it was like, wait, we have to be somebody. Who are we? And so we would always have to constantly remind ourselves of that, because originally the shot was going to be Devin was holding the camera, and then Creighton gets stormed back, and then we're like, but then Devin would be facing the other direction while the snowball fight was coming, and so then we came up with the idea of Creighton holding it and then it dropping and then him getting flown back, which it turned out to be a really cool looking effect, I think.
And then just a side note to take off of what you said, just reminded me, was that we had to deal with filming this way, was that these guys, because Devin was always next to me, so these guys would talk to Devin, but Devin was the camera, so they would kept looking at Devin instead of the camera. Funny. So we had to redo takes a lot because of that. Like, you guys got to look at me, I'm Devin. Oh yeah, that's right. So that was another thing we had to deal with, but it's fun. Good times.
Even on our second shot, actually, they were looking at me and not at the camera, and we didn't even notice that until cut two. So we actually cut that out completely. So it was just learning, and it's a trial and error thing, filmmaking.
But it was really cool.
So Devin ran to the rescue. See, then here's Devin picking it up, but we cut early. So that's the coolest stunt.
Yeah, that's a really fun one. Turned out awesome.
And that was like, we weren't planning on it looking as good as I think it turned out.
Yeah,
and
was he supposed to land it?
Yeah, he was supposed to land it, but
take two. He did it in 2 takes too.
Yeah,
the first one
he almost hit the tractor.
Yeah, he went backwards too far.
And we weren't planning on his hat falling off, but his hat flings off, so it totally sells the illusion that he got hit hard. And I mean,
definitely one of the best.
That snowball.
That one was 100% CGI snowball.
Yeah, there was no, because it was hard every time we tried to time, because we tried to do everything as practical as possible, and we'd throw the snowball, but the wires pull and the snowball hit wouldn't usually happen at the right moment. So it was just kind of a trial and error of figuring out how to get that dialed in.
I really liked how this one turned out, though.
Super fun.
And then we do the classic office reaction. Oh, no, and there's the Yeti. Cutaway shots.
Got Rob with his big debut.
And that was one thing we struggled with basically, you'll see it in these last 2 shots especially, was trying to get the momentum of as if you're getting hit by a snowball and actually having them fly in that direction, because a lot of these snowballs are fake. So you've got this momentum of the thing pulling you from wherever they've got it hooked, because they've got all these different spots on their vest, and so they would get pulled, and it looks a little unnatural, especially that one, like his feet go backwards, but the snow hits him up top. So it's just the way it was, and it's just what we had to deal with.
You got Brandon again,
That's
Wex.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Wex, we did a bunch of stuff with on one of our laser battle videos. So she'd done a couple wire works before, but she's not part of an actual stunt team, even though she's dating one of the stunt team members.
Straight up dating Corbett.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's automatically a stunt person when you date a stunt.
I guess
person.
this is true.
But what's so cool about this, guys, is that there's one single wire, and it's coming out through her coat, and all they have it is they have it wrapped around her 2 times. So she has to straighten herself out while these guys jump off a ledge with weight, and it's just unraveling her. And I think it's just amazing. It's like
There's
it's
an art
super
to it.
hard. Yeah, it's super hard work, but super.
Yeah,
super
I think this looks so believable. This is actually, I think, one of my favorite hits because it looks so intense. And the way the snowball, and this one we actually had real snow and a fake
it was a
snowball.
mixture.
So yeah, it being mixed together helps sold the illusion even that much more because there's only so much you can do with CGI. But half of that snowball hit is actually really snow.
I think another reason that we had to use CGI is because Zane threw a lot of the snowballs, which he doesn't have an arm. Let's be honest.
I was throwing them overhand.
We found
guys.
out
They're big
later.
snowballs.
We found out later we had to CGI everything because he didn't know how to throw.
Did you
That's
guys?
not true.
Did you guys notice? Just talking about things normal people don't notice. Did you guys notice that I'm running with the script in the back of my pocket? Did you guys ever notice
I
it?
never saw that.
Yeah, I noticed. But like no one else could notice that, but you'll notice my butt.
That's hilarious.
I have the script
No,
right
that's great.
as we're filming. So
Just little things like that make it so fun. Man,
was the
this
scene.
freaking shot took
Yeah.
us so many takes because he kept messing up and then also talking. What was it that he was talking about that he kept? It was like that third person.
yeah, the third person, and I think the biggest thing is after he'd do the take, he'd take off his gloves to lick the slime, and he'd let go of the camera.
letting go of
So
the
the camera
camera.
was just floating when he was supposed to be holding it, and we would talk about it, and then we'd do it, and then he kept on doing the exact same thing, which it happens when you're out there filming, like that's normal, but it was probably like 6 or 7 takes of forgetting.
And he'd go, "Oh my gosh!" and he wouldn't even realize he let go.
Yeah.
And I kept creating let go, and that's when I actually started grabbing their
Grabbing them,
fingers
yeah.
so they couldn't. And there was times he's trying to pull away. It's like, no way, man, you're staying here.
Creighton's energy is so great, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He-
it's
he
one of a
like
kind energy, and we love
perpetuate
Creighton.
this video
so
so much.
fun.
And it just would bleed into everyone else, which is so awesome.
Super contagious.
That was one of the first stunts.
And we added a camera shake to it because it was on a tripod.
That's right. And the first day too. So we had to rent a big forklift thing. That's what they were hooking all the wire stuff to be able to get the wire poles to flip them up and stuff. And we didn't have it the whole first day, and we were supposed to. So all these stunts, we kind of divided them out. Were just people tugging. So we'd have like 3 or 4 guys just tugging as hard as they could on a count of 3. And so this was one of the first ones. So you see that he doesn't actually fly back super far, and just kind of.
And it's also about getting the forklift was also a lot about getting the momentum to go up. So just falling to the ground.
All filmmaking is problems because day one we were supposed to have that forklift there, and then the company that we were renting it from, they delayed it back a day, which when you're filming, one day costs you a lot of time, money, and what you can pull off. And then the second day we get it, and we actually can't fit it into the ice castle structure. So the crew of the ice castle structure, they actually had to like get a certain kind of chainsaw,
yeah.
and they had to start cutting through the ice. And thankfully, that was the last day it was being open, or it was open for the season, so they could get away with kind of ruining some of the ice castle. So they cut out part of the ice castle so we could get that forklift in there.
The ice castles like the day after this.
Yeah.
For the last day of our shoot.
That's a fake fall too, and I think that turned out really cool.
This is the best example of that HDRX because it was so dark inside this slide, and then it was so bright out there, and there's not even any ghosting on this one. I don't know. It just turned out so nice.
I had to go through in After Effects and cut out so you could see the big crane on the right side.
Oh, yeah.
So all on this side, you can actually notice if you look at it, it kind of looks a little foggy. But you saw the workers and the big crane from the stunt guys.
And we never saw it for a while too.
No, the day before, until the day before we released it.
Yeah, and so I had to
never
bust these
saw
out
it.
really quick. But I think it totally works because the camera moves so quickly.
And I would love for you guys to go back to our original video. There's one clip where you'll actually see a house in the video. If you are watching this, go to the main video, find out what part that is, and leave it in the comments, because I'd love to see if you guys can spot that. But we didn't even notice. There were tons of, I think we went through 4 or 5 edits, and none of our team, Warner Brothers team, Nickelodeon team, none of us noticed that. So just those are the things you got to look for.
Yeah, so go ahead and put it in the comments if you find it. Tell us where it is. Because we know where it is now, but it was already uploaded.
So I want to talk about this, the pickup shots, Dev. I think this is kind of fun.
Oh, yeah, that's a big thing, too.
Well, first off, we were rushed for the slime scene, so we couldn't shoot the stuff to help prep it for the intro stuff to build up for this scene.
Yeah, because they were opening the ice castles for the public, so there was already a huge line of people waiting to get into these ice castles. And so we were so rushed, and we had to get this as the last shot of the day.
We had to find a spot that we couldn't ruin.
Yeah, exactly.
Because this slime was nasty. Good, it was great. We loved the slime, but it got everywhere and turned everything green.
Yeah, so wet. But anyway, so this shot right here, Devin, Brandon, and I went up to, we're in Utah, we went up to the canyon and just found a spot that had some snow, and so we had the camera facing up so you can't see all the surroundings, but it was just in a forest. So this wasn't in the ice castles. And we came up with this idea that we put the overlay of people talking like they were still in that group, and Devin's telling him to be quiet because he's trying to talk to the camera. And so then he lets go. The camera never fell. There was no actually ever motion. This was all 100% added afterwards. There's a little motion here, so I'm holding the camera. So I kind of come down like this, but this shot here, the camera's just stationary sitting down. And so we had to add in all the shaking afterwards.
Like someone's stomping.
And people, like family and friends, are like, oh, what camera did you guys drop, to do that? And it was kind of cool. Like, oh, we got away with it. But
Just static the whole time.
And another way we got away with it, and you'll see it in a lot of clips, is that glitch.
Yeah,
Can
the
we
glitch helped
talk
us
about
out.
where I got that glitch? We'll tell you guys. But if
There's a mixture
we
between
were
a
looking
plug-in-
for videos that have shot like this, and Cloverfield was one of them, and we were like, we should just use that glitch. And literally, we downloaded the clip and just. Can I talk?
Yeah.
Okay. We downloaded the clip, and then we cut just the glitch that they would do from shot to shot, just to glitch out like it's a tape recorder. And that's kind of the idea. And so we just threw that in anytime we needed a glitch, and it turned out really nice.
And we added on top of it that universe plugin as well on some parts that has like the lines coming across.
Exactly. Yeah. And this does look so good when you play it frame by frame. Like that looks like it really fell. That's pretty cool.
Movie magic at its finest. And then we got slimed, and then we were covered in slime because we had to clean up all this stuff. So we were out there for another hour, give or take, and
it was
we
single
were
digits. It was dropping down to single digits degrees by after this point.
Yeah,
You guys
were so wet.
Were wet and freezing cold.
and miserable, but spirits were high. And then we spent an hour cleaning it all up, which was miserable. And then we got in the back of, because we didn't want to ruin the cars, like getting inside. So me and Creighton, we jumped in the back of a pickup, riding through the mountains with all the cold. And then we had to like sneak in the hotel so no one would see and kick us out of the hotel. And then I went to my room, Creighton went to his room, and we both just stood in the shower with all our clothes on. I think I took like a 45-minute shower just standing there because I was just trying to get everything out of my clothes, and it all came out, thankfully. But
That's crazy.
there's always something, one thing or another. And usually when you're doing like kind of crazy stuff, you want more than one camera. So for this scene, we only had one take. So we had 2 cameras set up. We had one red and then one red to the side. So that's kind of how we captured both of those. And that was the video for
So go watch the movie now, Smallfoot.
in September.
In September
September
it comes out.
28th.
Wow,
now.
it's actually a ways away.
But it was really cool. We got to work with Nickelodeon, which I grew up with Nickelodeon and Warner Brothers. And it was actually like a legit movie that we were really excited about. We didn't know a ton about it until we got this opportunity. And for us, working with brands is always a huge thing, especially with brands that you love. And that's what got to happen with Nickelodeon and Warner Brothers. So just seeing that process unfold. And it was a challenge for us because it's like, how are you going to include slime and how are you going to include a Yeti in a video and pump that out within a couple weeks?
And I didn't want us to necessarily show the Yeti.
Yeah, that was
because
the other
obviously
hard
these
thing.
Yetis are all CG and they're cartoony looking, and any of the costumes, the Yetis look pretty horrifying, and we didn't have a lot of time to actually make a costume to get professionally made,
Which could have been nice.
and so
at the time.
and what people don't understand, and those who are, as you guys continue on in your film careers and those who are outside, but like you are given parameters, and this even takes place in the big studios, and then you have to be creative and come up with a way to plug in all of those things. Like we had to have slime, we had to show some Yetis, and then it was like, man, how do we do this without making it like too cheesy? But then we're thinking, hey, this is Nickelodeon and this is kids. we'll just make it super positive. Like if you're watching a TV show on Nickelodeon, that's kind of where we geared our direction to, because it wasn't supposed to be scary at all. They said absolutely they can't be scared of them. They can't be can't have a scary feeling. The slime needs to be a positive experience. And so yeah, we just put all our heads together and came up with what you see here. So
the truth is in the pudding and the video. But yeah, we all had a phenomenal. I guess last closing words, like for both of you guys, what was like your big takeaway that you learned from this video?
I think for me, because I was the one who came up with the idea of it being found footage, and it was like everyone was really, really nervous that would even turn out, and it
really
would,
nervous,
and it would work out. And I just had to keep on being positive, because in my mind I was like, yeah, this will totally work out. I can see it clearly, because I'm very visual thinking, and if I can plan it out in my mind, if I see it, then I know we can pull it off. But it was like I was having to be super confident, which I was, but to these guys and saying, no guys, it's gonna work out. It's gonna work out.
Yeah.
And then Devin, so we shot the first day, and then he stayed up like all night, and he pieced it together, and he played it, and it was like beautiful, and it worked out. Everyone was laughing, and then everyone was at ease, and then we were just full throttle the second day. So that's probably my biggest takeaway, was just if you have the vision and you think it's gonna work out, just get around people who trust you, and then and then push it.
Well, just to add to that, which I think is important to say, until the day before shooting, we were still afraid. At least I was afraid to do full on that concept. So we were going to do 50% cinematic, and then we were going to cut to this found footage and then go back to like the more narrative cinematic style, all the way until us all meeting together in the hotel the night before. That's when we finally like made the decision. Okay, we're just going to go 100% for it and just see what we get out of it, because it's taking a risk, and it is scary. But for me, like, this is one of the things I'm most proud of that we've done within the last year, as far as like storytelling. It still has a super tramp vibe to it. So yeah, just going to add to what Zane just said.
My biggest takeaway from this video was the way we shot it. It was very challenging and a new experience for me. We did the orc video very similar to this, except we just shot them on prime lenses, so anything zoomed was digital, which Zane did in post. So I didn't have to worry about that. I just had to worry about focus. I don't even think I had to worry about focus, because we had Jared.
Point focus.
So I literally was just moving the camera. This one was such a challenge for me, because it's totally office style, Parks and Rec, where you're a character. You're actually playing with the actors. You're reacting to their reaction. You've got to move when they move. You've got to zoom in when there's those funny moments. So it's like not just zoom in, but find focus very quickly, because you want it to look good, but you also want it to feel like it's an amateur filming job. But to the viewer, they don't realize the challenges in that and how hard it actually is to actually do those. So that was very fun for me, especially when I saw the first cut Devin did that night. I was like, oh, this is actually turning out way good. Like it gave me a lot of confidence to shoot that direction. So I'm really excited with how it turned out, and that was probably the thing I took away from it the most.
And I think for me, what came down to what I took away the most, because I definitely learned a ton from this project, but it's just the importance, once again, about collaborating and trusting your team that you have with you, and also trusting the actors. You always have to draw a line just to make sure it's not slowing you down too much, but there's so many times where I thought this should be this way, and then Zane or Tyson or Wex or Crane, they would second guess that, and then we ended up completely changing how that scene played out, and I felt it made the scene so much better. So it's just making sure you surround yourself with people that are better than you or more talented than you, but also that are willing to learn from each other. And for us, for this project, it just felt like it was a bunch of really good friends going out and just trying to make the best project possible. And for me, something I'm really proud of, and I think we got that. So there you have it. Make sure to check out the Smallfoot video. Once again, when you go to the video, try and see the one shot that we screwed up with the house, and list in the comments on that video where that is, because I want to see who is actually watching all the way till the end. And make sure to subscribe and hit the crap out of that notification.
Let's get this video to 50,000 likes.
50,000 likes by the end of tomorrow, and we'll be giving out one of our red cameras if we can get this.
You better be careful, man. This is on film. People will
We'll give out. I take that back. We'll give out our 5D Mark IV if we can get this video to 50,000 likes.
Oh, I love it. That's so legit.
Good luck. And
You're a little nervous.
no, I'm not nervous at all.
Because it probably won't.
I'm not. I'm not nervous. But bring it on. If you can get to 50,000
right.
likes
Go
by
viral, baby.
tomorrow.
By tomorrow. Like,
Within the hour. 24 hours, we will give it to one of the comments in the comment section. That I give you my word and my oath. Good luck.
Wow, cool.
Good night. We bid thee farewell. Thanks so much for watching. Over and out, baby.